Lee, first of all, before we get into the Stockport game, I suppose everybody's talking about the injuries that have just been coming along for you. You've got an update on one or two?
Yeah, James is going to get seen this week, so we'll have a better picture of exactly where he's at. It's not looking promising at the minute. If you have to come off the pitch with what looks like some sort of groin pull at the minute. Jack Lancaster, we're hopeful for him to be available from now on, monitoring his training and making sure he gets what we need with that. Mattis is, as we speaking to somebody today. He's had an ongoing issue for months, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. So he's speaking to somebody now as we speak to see exactly what it is we've got to do moving forward. But again, always hoping for positive news with injuries. With that, and then the longer term ones are still in their situation of just really trying to come back, and then we're managing bumps and bruises like everybody else.
Just one update, because I've seen you in conversation with your captain. How's he?
Yeah, he's doing okay. He went to see somebody yesterday, and they've had a general chat. Look, Mickey's plays all the minutes he can do, so his body doesn't look quite like somebody else's body because he's a warrior and he's a fighter and he puts himself through the mill. So we'll look at him over the next 10 days and see exactly where he's at, but he's desperate to get on the pitch, like you expect.
With no league games coming up at this particular weekend, but there is a busy schedule coming shortly, does that affect your team selection? Do you look at it a little bit differently with no league game going into a cup tie?
It does. We want to be strong, but we've also got to be mindful of the injuries we've already got and the players from Saturday, the knocks that we've got from that. So we will make a decision on the team tomorrow in terms of what it looks like. But again, it's a competition that I've already said we want to do well in. I think once teams get out the group stage, I think everybody then wants to fancies a trip to Wembley, don't they? So there'll be some better teams put out rather than younger players from, I think, the majority of the teams that are allowed left in the competition.
Of course, it is the FA Cup weekend. You would have loved to have been competing in that. There's no doubt about that, because we've talked about how much you enjoy the FA Cup. But just looking at it where you are, as we just said, those 6 games are coming up, I think, in a 3-week period. Could this little break from league pressure be ideal for you?
You'd say so. The players get a little bit of rest, can't they? You can manage certain players in a different way, but even coming out off the back of Saturday, I think we're in a good place, mentally, and the players and what they're churning out on the pitch physically. So you always want the next league game as quickly as possible, really, but it won't do any harm for one or two to be able to, we just manage what they're doing a little bit.
Well, you've been looking at one or two who are probably desperate and eager to get into your first team. Will you be looking at one or two of those in the trophy to be in your mind for your next league game? Yeah,
what we're not going to do, it's not going to look like it's looked in the previous games. The team's obviously going to be a little bit stronger. Players not being able to be selected for it will mean that as well. But again, we'll do some work today, and I'll have a look at it overnight and make a decision tomorrow morning with it. But every time somebody gets on the pitch, it's an opportunity to impress, and that's what they've got to do.
What do you look for from those sort of players who are just not making it into your first team? What do you look for throughout the week that can catch your eye? Well,
training properly, their appetite to train. There's no hiding place because the numbers, in terms of what they cover, I'm not saying everybody has to be perfect on the football. They have bad days with the football, good days in training with the football. That just happens. But when it comes down to monitoring exactly what players should be covering and what they can cover, that's something I'm big on. And it's an area that I'll constantly look at. And we just need a little bit more from a couple, 2 or 3. We need that little bit more of what the ethos of what we're trying to build the club around. We work hard, we're aggressive with what we do. That's something key that I look at, and sometimes if I feel that's not right, I have to make calls and decisions because I'm the manager of the football club, and I'll always do what I feel is best for the team.
It's definitely hotting up now, the trophy, the Vertu Trophy. Stockport are your opponents. You've already been there. this season. It's another meeting against a very good team, but one that you want to progress.
Yeah, definitely. There'll be that same. Like I say, it really heats up now. There'll be strengthened teams played out throughout the competition. You would think from now on. What I would say is, when they change their team round, they're not quite as young as what we are. They've got some experienced players, some good players that will need minutes, and that you would think use it as an opportunity for that. But I'm sure Dave will want to do well in the competition. They're doing really well in the league. Really good team, can change shapes, can play different ways. And I think they'll be the same as us. When you're winning some games, you want to try and continue that momentum, and it's an opportunity tomorrow to do that.